as everybody knows. We're big. It's a big time. I know you've been on some big sets lately, Jared, but just understand the Amethyst Crystal Cave. We have a producer. We don't show you to him, her, them. We don't show you guys that, but they are sticklers with the microphones on here. I know this isn't PBD. This isn't Bridget Fetisi. You know, like
I understand.
MSSP.
This is an MSSP. There's no Lemaire Lee over here. You know, like there's no Gardinis, none of these guys. But
they all started here, and I'm honored to come back.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by to visit Glen Rock, need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
Yeah, no, Jared is back. Jared Klickstein, obviously you guys know about his book, the Klickstein Flight Logs. It is out. It's called Crooked Smile. Look, we got the story way before everybody else got it, so you guys already know Jared. If the audience, and I hope you have a copy of it. Audiobook coming soon, right?
Yeah, the audiobook should be coming February 25th.
Oh yeah, damn.
Firm date. Because I feel so bad. That's literally a book I haven't read, and I feel like I was the first person to find out about it.
You can listen to the only thing about the audio is I don't think I can like hand it out to people.
No.
I have to like look into that because I don't. No. You can like mail a book or a PDF, but you can't really. I don't know. I got to look into that. But
Jared, I think you're worth an Audible credit. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I think you're worth a monthly credit. I will gladly spend it on.
Thank you very much.
So he's back today. I was just. Lots happened since the last time you've come on with our country, with your life, with everything, and we want to get everyone caught up to speed. But I was laughing because were you telling me something that like the CVS was like the most like robbed store during all of these times, or the crime thing? Were you and I?
Yeah, I just think like every video from SF was CVS, and then they shut it down in one of the I forget the neighborhood in San Fran, but yeah, it just seemed like a CVS thing.
Don't say San Fran, first of all.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you? That's right when it came out. I was just like, damn.
How dare you? First of all, God, how dare you? Yeah,
we're bringing it back, dude. It's San Fran now.
We're not. No, we're not. We are not.
I'm from LA, so no,
yeah. No,
just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny though, because that store particularly, like right in the Bay Area, there were many videos of people just being able to go in and like smash and grab and do whatever, and it was considered under a certain amount. They would game the system. You'd have like under a certain amount of money. I forget what the money total was, but there would be like 10 people in there going underneath. It was like very much a game show of what was happening there. But I was just thinking, like, I went to my local one the other day because it's on my walk. So if I want something to drink or something, I like that's kind of where I have to go, and I always regret it. There's nothing on the shelves. The only thing available is a vaccine in the store. I've noticed, like nothing else is on the shelf. They're like, hey, how's your tetanus? Do you need tetanus? Do you need a flu shot? Do you need the norovirus bird flu that this shot for sure covers safe and effectively? That's the only thing you can get there. And it just is the weirdest store in the history of the world. But like, it is like, they locked up the pens. Like boligraphos, dude. Like they locked up the pens there, which you think about the next James Baldwin that stopped happening because CVS locked up the pens. You just think about it. But Jared, with Sheng Tao, all this stuff has happened. Trump's president now, like way different from when we were first talking.
Yeah, no, it's way different. I think they closed the CVS on Powell in San Francisco. I mean, I used to be an avid thief at CVS. I mean, CVS used to only lock up certain items, but since I got sober, they seem to just lock everything up now. But everything's really different. I mean, we got a new mayor in San Francisco. We're gonna have a new mayor in Oakland. We just got a new DA in Oakland. My prediction is nothing will really change, but hopefully my prediction's wrong.
Yeah.
And the whole the CVS thing, because we were talking about how even California statewide voted 70% to recriminalize like stealing from under $1,000. So that's everyone. That's California. That's all the liberals and everything won by a huge majority, which nothing wins by 70%. Like a crime law in California, you know what I mean? So that's, people are just over it. And I like this whole notion that, people are like secretly down that Kamala Harris lost. They're relieved that she lost, even if they have to pretend that they aren't, kind of thing in public, whatever your social circle is. I think I'm seeing that a lot.
Yeah, you can always tell the person that's secretly relieved is when been like, wow, this was like the Democrats' best candidate. Whenever they say stuff like that, you're like, oh yeah, you were rooting for T-Dog the whole time. Yeah, I already know. It's okay, just say it.
Well, it's weird. I'm in Austin right now, so it's like it's completely different. I am moving back to the Bay Area in like 2 weeks, but here I haven't seen anyone expressing any sort of any anger or being upset or anything about the results. But yeah, I mean, when I went back, I don't know. It is different. No one's really, I mean, it's not cool to be progressive.
No,
I mean, that's the bottom line. It just isn't. It was cool in 2017. No one that I know that would be worthy of hanging out with or having any fun with would identify really as a progressive still, I'd imagine.
Right. Yeah, they're very morose. Like, like they're kind of not a very like fun group of people to be around. If you're ever around like people in real life, like they're not really the like party animal. Like in the 2010s, there was like kind of a hipster like a contingent of people that like you could have like a fun time with, and I'm just like, are those people around anymore? It just doesn't seem to be the case, because I mean, you got outflanked from the right. First time I've ever seen that in my life. Where you get like on the cool side, you get flanked by like you get like, and people could argue like, oh, dude, Nixon, look at this picture of Nixon wearing like a cool polo in the 60s. Like, no, for the most part, when you grew up, like right wing people were not like cool, and a lot of times they scoffed at the notions of like, you guys are lame. It's not even cool what you guys are doing. But right now, objectively, if you compared the two, seeing Antonio Brown's Twitter feed versus whatever progressive thing is happening right now, or leftist or whatever, it's just not cool,
Yeah.
Well, and even the like this RFK confirmation shit, you have Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders just coming across as absolute fucking losers, and just screaming at him, and it's just not hitting the way they think it does. And it's like, what at that point, what even is, or what even are we offered, from those guys? Like, it's either the death of that party, or they're going to have to do some serious, someone's going to have to come in and be like, yo, we're changing up our whole redesign kind of thing, ground up, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Not that I give a shit, because I'm never dealing with them again, But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I guess the Bernie thing, like, it's embarrassing for me, because that's like the only, I don't vote, and I voted for him in the 2016 like primaries. And that's the one time like I voted, and I was just like, fuck, dude, you're such a fucking loser, dude. I don't know. It's just so bad. I don't know. Everyone else has already knows this shit, and I knew it too, but I don't know. It's just different,
Yeah. Well, they got David Hogg. David Hogg will be the new face.
Oh my God.
Dude, David, what he is like Groundhog Day, dude. It's a groundhog with 2 G's. Like, he just pops out every once in a while, and everyone's just like, if David Hogg says something lame today, then like we're gonna get 4 years of something kind of cool, Like, it kind of feels like that's what happened, because in 2016 he pops up. 2020 I thought Trump was gonna win, so I thought that was gonna be happening, but I guess it didn't. But then in 2024 he pops up, and there's a lot of people. Not to get down this rabbit hole too much, there's a lot of people that don't understand that he was not in like the classroom that got shot up. Like, there's a lot of people that think like David Hogg was just like found a way like to like hide underneath like a table, like the perfect table in the corner that nobody checked, or like play dead or something. Like, no, he was like, he AOC'd.
Yeah, I don't even think he was at the school.
They say he was at the school. So now I've heard he was at the school, but in a completely different side of the thing. And it was just like code red drill or whatever they call that. The one where you put the desks in front of the door. I have no idea. That I feel like
we ate out of that.
Yeah, I feel like that's not the answer these days. I feel like school shooters have combated the desks piled up against the door thing. I'm just I don't know. But I feel like he was in another thing, but then he became like this spokesperson. And I know his dad has like ties to some sort of,
and all the other students hate him and are like, fuck this dude. And, it's just, hey, man, I mean, What I like Adam Lair's thing that the DNC putting up a spook as like the top head guy is like so indicative. That's just what they are at this point. I thought that was beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, they love these agencies, right? Like they love these agencies. You talk about like some of the stuff getting defunded right now, and it seems like a no-brainer to a lot of people, where it feels like a lot of stuff like could have just happened under a different president. People will be like, oh yeah, that's fine. But since like Trump or Musk doing anything is, and I say this as somebody who's not a big Elon Musk guy, but like trimming off like transgender plays in like South America or something, like, or like Les Miserables, like the trans version that's happening in like South America, and cutting off like 50 G's going to that, like it feels like a no-brainer. Like if you knew you were paying for that, you'd be like, maybe we shouldn't. It's kind of like we did like a rocket mortgage, for our thing, like, and maybe there's a little bit of scam because rocket mortgage is kind of a scam, but I think for right now they're doing this like rocket mortgage thing, and I just feel like it's just like, dude, we know that this was all built on just like taxing a bunch of people here and just sending it around the world and just doing this. Like, you can tell who's orchestrating it. You can tell whose ideas were listened to on what should be funded. And that's over, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode.
Yeah, my friend's brother works for the State Department, and he's in Macedonia overlooking elections in Macedonia, and it's like through some USAID thing or something. I mean, he's basically just in the CIA and he's rigging elections in Macedonia. But I that's like the only time I ever heard about USAID. Prior to this, I didn't even know what it was. But yeah, I'm getting into a lot of arguments with people that are like, okay, well, what is your definition of waste? Like, sure, like maybe you just don't support some of these things, but it's not, waste is subjective. And that's sort of a cop out. Yeah, they're kind of like collapsing, and it's pretty sad.
There's some pretty obvious stuff is what I'm saying right away. Yeah, I think every like you're right. We will get to a time where I think there's stuff worth debating. Like this program or that
that's like 3 years. No, that's like 4 years.
We're there right now, dude. Like,
what was the one that Nepal, the grant to spread atheism in Nepal, like a famously atheistic place, Nepal, right? Yeah, fucking.
What are you just giving like a guy with a selfie stick a bunch of money to go out there and like tell me and ask them to explain particles and fucking free will or something? Like, what is happening? Exactly. So like there's but Jared, you've been a proponent of, we kind of have to spend some money to get this drug situation that you've been such a vocal proponent of getting people clean, getting people sober. And I agree with you. I believe that costs money. I believe to solve homelessness, that does cost money to eventually save money, in my opinion, but and just better quality of life. I think a lot of people support that, but when you see this money getting cut, are you worried about some of that a little bit too, about maybe getting lost in catching a stray in terms of like funding addiction recovery?
No, I mean, I don't really think any funding, at least in the Bay Area or California in general, I'd say 0% of the funding's going anywhere good. I mean, maybe 1%. I don't know. Every organization that I've ever dealt with has been pretty much nonprofit. They didn't deal with the state. And then I know organizations that were nonprofit and then they started dealing with the state. Now they have a bunch of wacky rules and they're putting everyone on Suboxone and they want everyone on drugs and they don't want to push 12-step stuff.
Yeah,
because 12-step stuff is associated with spirituality and God.
It's God. It's literally Christianity. I feel like right.
Pretty much, yeah. So like the place that I went to was great, but then they got offered all this money from the state, and now everyone's on Suboxone, and they're doing a lot less 12-step work.
Yeah. What is an atheist? Can you be an atheist and recover? Like, have you heard about it? Like people who like straight up go through zero, and I'm talking people that are bad, like your situation. Can you imagine anybody like recovering without God, like at all?
Yeah,
like,
people do it, and then they announce it every meeting whenever they raise their hand. I mean, it's a very, they have to announce that because they just say, okay, my higher power is like the group of people here, and that's usually a precursor to developing a sense of like agnosticism or something. But yeah, people do it and they wear it like a badge of pride. And then there's also other recovery programs that are strictly atheistic, and those ones are a little more lenient with like relapse, and smart recovery. Of course, it's called Smart Recovery is the name of the program that's atheistic. But what's cool is when you go to AA, like there's really progressive people, there's really conservative people, there's like they, thems and stuff, but like everyone's talking about God. It's kind of this like amazing cheat code where you can get a they, them, or like a young progressive to sort of be like, well, it's my own conception of God. And that's a starting point, so it is sort of a miracle program in that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's because I'm kind of that. Like, I do think my goal is to not be like zero government spending, for a lot of this stuff. Like, I do think when I walk around the Bay Area, I think like, man, there's just a lot of junkies out here. And we've talked about it a lot on here. There's just a lot of junkies. There's a lot of homelessness. And I don't necessarily think the answer is like fix this dude up with a sick ass house and see what happens. Like, I don't think it's that, but we obviously, we know that that these programs need to be funded because again, it's a better quality of life for people who have nothing to do with that. That stuff bleeds into normal life, and it sometimes be like an oil tanker spill level of bleeding into it. It's really sad. So I do hope. Do you have any hopes for this like administration to, we hear about the tariff wars, right, with Canada, where, and I hope I'm getting this right because I'm not so astute in this stuff, but I would say, they were going to put some tariffs on, Trump was going to put some tariffs on Canada. He postponed them for a month because he wanted to fund he wanted them to basically secure their border, right?
Yeah.
And it's fentanyl that they're worried about, or at least that's what they say, but I tend to think that that's true for the most part, right?
Yeah. So you're asking me if I have faith in this
Yeah, what I mean is like, it sounds like he wants to get fentanyl out of here, but like, again, like you stop the borders, but there are still a lot of people here that are addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could stop it, and I get it. That's like a long-term plan. Like stop where it's coming from, because obviously you got to cut off the supply. However, there are a lot of just addicts here right now. And like, have you heard anything on that front? If there's going to be like drug treatment things, like, because that's typically not something associated with on like the right. It's a lot of times it's just imprisonment, right?
Yeah. I do have faith in the administration because of J.D. Vance. So like J.D. Vance is not a drug addict, but his mom was a drug addict. So we have someone in the White House that actually lived in a household where his mother was like an Oxycontin addict. So he has some understanding of this. And then also RFK was a heroin addict. And I believe that I've heard things that he said that I totally support. And the fact that they're just around in like spinning around in the ether in that White House, and someone with some experience is there, I do have hope. I have heard some things. I've made some contacts. I would like to work with the federal government on this, but they have priorities right now, and that is probably not a first priority. But limiting fentanyl coming into the country, of course, is part of addressing the issue. But there is still demand. I mean, there's thousands of people that are addicted to fentanyl, especially in the Bay Area, and this is the problem. This is why I have little faith in the Bay Area or California, because I don't want to sound like a nerd, but like Peter Thiel has this concept called preference cascade. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's like, so I don't know a lot about Peter Thiel, but someone told me this term, and it's like, it's basically when everyone's sort of thinking something, but it's not okay to express that opinion. And then like someone finally expresses it, and it sort of becomes a little bit accepted in mainstream. And then all of a sudden there's like a cascade effect where like, okay, this is the new normal. We're allowed to believe this. And the Bay Area has not hit that point yet. So like the mayor of San Francisco cannot like come down with an iron fist in addressing the problem of crime and addiction and stuff, because it's associated with the right wing, or it's associated with the Trump administration. So what I'm hoping is secretly, they're going to work with the feds and basically allow the feds to come in and do the job that they can't do, sort of to retain any sort of respect amongst the Democrats or the liberal majority of California. And then that will create if it works well, I'm hoping that it will create a preference cascade, and then it will become normal for local governments to start, addressing these problems with some sort of authority. I mean, they're pussyfooting around. I mean, and this is not, we can't just take half measures for the next 10 years. And, nothing's really, he's talking a lot. He's talking about a lot about how fentanyl is a problem, but has no real plan of addressing it. It's looking like the same thing as the last San Francisco administration.
And it's weird, man, because like a lot of liberals, I don't think maybe younger progressives do this, but like I know a lot of like liberals, my parents or even like their age and stuff, they'll watch like live PD. They'll watch shows like this where it's just constantly you see them drive. I mean, it's depressing. I don't enjoy live PD. I think it's the most depressing show in the history of the world. I cannot believe people watch live PD. It's like there's no fun parts of it like Cops. It's straight up just like really sad heroin arrests and like really like bad like child endangerment. So it's like really, really depressing. But they'll watch these shows and they'll just kind of, but then there's this cognitive dissonance, especially in the Bay Area, where they'll think any response in the favor of correcting that is because they're told by either John Oliver, Trevor Noah, or Mark Maron, any of these people, that what they're doing is actually like a police state, it's fascism and stuff. And I'm like, what do you, what's your guys' plan as like liberals? You guys don't use heroin. You guys would know enough to say no to it. Like a lot of these people would know enough to say no to like heroin, all these meth, all of these drugs. But you watch the TV show where it's a huge problem. You watch the fiction version of it, I should say, of Breaking Bad or whatever. They're ingesting drug content all day, and then they're just like, oh no, we can't do this, or like we can't mass support this because that's right wing. I hate it.
Well, my aunt is like a diehard libtard and like thinks Trump is Hitler, and she lives in Oakland, and
damn.
But she has more extreme views on addressing crime and addiction than me. I mean, she like literally
living in Oakland will do that.
Yeah, because she would like support someone like Mussolini becoming mayor of Oakland,
right?
So, but the thing is that she thinks Trump is Hitler, so she can't support any leader that would even at any way like hint at the fact that they don't also think Trump is Hitler. And unfortunately, Trump and his cohorts are probably going to have the right response to addressing these issues. So any leader is going to have to do the opposite in order to retain the electorate in California. So it's just and here's another thing. Like back to like the funding, like, yeah, sure, I support funding for like public treatment centers, long-term treatment centers like that. But it will be worth nothing unless there is an incentive for people to actually go. And by that, what I mean by that is in some cases, or in probably most cases, be forced to go in exchange for not going to prison, because people are, I mean, it doesn't make any, I can't believe I have to explain this in 2025 still, but if you give a drug addict the option of getting high or going to long-term treatment, they're going to just keep getting high. That's obvious. So the fact that the mayor is not currently even saying things like that, I think we have years to go.
I know it does. It just doesn't feel like it. Like I'll be on the internet and see like all of these parts of the country that like wake up to something, and then I'll go outside and it'll, it's raining right now, but like we have like beautiful weather, beautiful scenery out here. But then the people are just so like, maybe it's just that, maybe it's just too nice out here, and people just don't seem to like, it's like they'll pretend their life is so bad because of Trump, but like they'll get into that weird gymnastics game that you said your aunt, and I'm not even putting your aunt on blast. There's so many people like that. They'll get in that weird game where it's like, well, okay, then is your life that bad if you're allowed to play that weird little game? In your head of, I don't want to support this because X. It's like, is the world that bad in your, as you say, is the Adam McKay don't look up thing that you think is happening in the world, like, is it that bad if you're allowed to do all of these kind of like maintaining optics over actual progress? It's and the answer is no. The answer is no, because you live in the Bay Area and you realize these people just don't like. There's this weird like thing they run into like in a video game where part of the video game isn't open yet, and you're just like running into that like invisible wall and like running in place, and they're just kind of doing that mentally. Because they have all these things to lean on. They can watch shows that affirm their politics. They can go into friends group where that's the only thing allowed to be said, and it's the echo chamber.
Yeah. And the authoritarian thing is interesting. First of all, life opens up a lot when you admit to yourself that Trump isn't Hitler. You know, it's like you can move in a lot of different directions from there. And the liberals freaking out about what's going on right now. So first of all, we just lived through COVID, and you guys were running that shit show and telling us what medicines to take and forcing. And the whole thing with the other thing, and the thing that opened my eyes really was learning that there's actual social science, legit science showing that liberals and leftists don't realize when they're authoritarians versus the conservatives do. You know, they're like, yeah, I'm authoritarian on this issue. And when it comes to, I don't know, you know, it's, and also that's the whole Ayala freak out with the, oh no, like 2 weeks go by and we're actually doing shit. And I didn't sign up for this kind of, you know, that whole thing that was going on. But I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like when you see the results of not handling shit when it comes to drug and crime and things like that, and it also tied up in that is the illegal immigration too.
Right.
It's like, okay, maybe, you know, I don't know. It's like being tough on crime for that 0.01% of people that are fucking everything up to make cities livable again. Maybe that's something of value that we could reach back towards, especially when we see what Oakland is now, when we see what, you know, San Francisco is now, all this stuff. I don't know. I just, you know, I can actually, even though I don't agree, I can see why liberals and leftists are freaking out right now and why they have those pathways going in their mind and everything. And, you know, maybe we could be wrong and this thing could get really dark really quick, but I don't know. I think it's all, I don't think so. And I think that, you know, this is just a correction from a severe overcorrection from the past 20, 30 years, especially the last 8, you know, I don't know.
And like, to me, it's, you'll hear about like deportations and whether you're for it or against, whatever. I just mean, there are people who, I think there are people who understand the definition of the word deportation, even people who are like, no human being is illegal or anything. They'll understand that word means you're going back, right? They understand, but they treat it as though they're being executed. Like they'll show the pictures of people getting loaded on a bus and they think it's like concentration camp, like where they're being like executed or something like that. And I'm always just like, what do you guys think is happening? Like what, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you guys actually think is happening? Because when you actually get some of these people to like open up about what they think is happening, you're like, oh my gosh, like we are, again, the species. I feel like you can now, there's like a Requiem for a Dream, like egg time lapse of, or like, you know, like one of those weird mitosis time lapse, like that happens where we split off into like different species when that happened, where I'm saying like, I am not even like a big round them up in vans and send everybody out, but I am more of a like, no aid, no jobs.
Well, what's crazy, first of all, I'm not convinced. I don't know if you guys know something that I don't, but I'm trying to see like the worst excesses of the Trump deportation thing, and I'm not really finding the really bad stories. What's crazy is that what I'm seeing happen is, I guess the Biden administration just had all the data on all the criminals that were also illegal immigrants, like the legit rapists and murderers or whatever, and so all Trump is doing right now is basically like, oh yeah, we have his address, that we got it from the previous administration, we're just going to go send this guy back. And it's like, Jesus, that's all you guys had. That's some Soros shit. I don't know. That's so mind-boggling. You're just letting legit criminals, like, it's absolutely
you're spending money. No, and it's even more. You're spending money on archiving the data perfectly. You're spending the money on it. So it's not even like you're like, we're not even going to acknowledge that as an administration. We're just going to like cut that cost because we don't care. You're not even doing that. You're like, no, we know everything. We have like people on it and everything, and we're just doing the Jimmy Butler gif where you throw the fucking paper away. Like we're just doing that, and it's like, again, there was, it's just like what people are telling, and I'm saying it doesn't have the same bite this time around as it did in 2016. Even the people that are freaking out, they're kind of just like moping. You know, like they're mad, but they're moping. Like even so, the Grammys and like Trevor Noah's just like, and I don't think I'll be able to even host an event next year at all legally in America. And we're just like, oh no,
damn.
Oh no. Yeah. Like that would be funny if Trump picked like 5 symbolic deportations of people. just like it's like a lottery. Like that's the fastest part, is like a weird like Orwellian novel where he's like, it's just 5 celebrities that get deported.
Well, like, the numbers aren't that different than like his first administration or the Obama administration. I think the biggest part is that they actually closed the border. and then they're actively pursuing criminals. And then, but this is like the state of where we're at. Like we just had like a quote unquote moderate election in San Francisco, and we have a quote unquote moderate faction of supervisors. Yet if you were to ask all the supervisors, what are your feelings on deporting illegal immigrant fentanyl dealers, then not one would say I support that.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
like, so
arguably, and I mean, this is just conjecture. I'm not trying to give Trump too much, flowers or whatever, but arguably his deportations compared to Obama and Biden are way more targeted, and he's actually not sending families back and shit. It's kind of ironic.
I mean,
it's the same way he fights wars. He'll like pinpoint like one guy and kill him instead of starting a war for 12 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's
literally like if a retarded guy like us became president, we would.
That's why it's relatable. It's always everybody saying like, for all your life, you always go like, why can't so and so just happen to go? I once thought that, but it's much more complicated. You have like some political loser talking to you about that, and then like you find the guy that goes in. It's like, we're just doing that, and then you're like, I fucking knew you could do that. Yeah, I knew you could do that. And like there's all these people who are like, you need to hold your nose and vote for candidate X because and it's look, even if they get in, there's certain things they can't go through. And I know he has the Senate and the House in his favor, so it is a little bit easier for him. But again, these are just executive orders. Like this isn't like bills being passed and stuff. Like these are just executive orders. So I'm like, look, am I going to be a guy? I'm not upon that. I won't own a MAGA hat, anything like that. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, for content's sake, I have to really oppose this. It's like, no, I like it. It's great.
It seems good. Like a retarded guy like me. Like if I was the president, I would use leverage and like be like, Mexico, you have to patrol your border, or we're going to do some, retarded economic thing that I don't really understand. And of course they agree within like 6 hours. I mean, it's what a normal guy would do,
dude.
And it seems to work.
The Canada and New Mexico thing, it spawned a weekend of debates of like the dumbest shit I've ever seen from people like really getting on. And it ended up being just like you and I like negotiating a bargain of like car parts, like I'll trade you that for that or something, I just like it ended up just being that, and it just being, look, if you just do this and I won't do this, we don't want to do that. Okay, well then I'm doing this. All right, fine, we'll fucking do it, and then it happens, like, and Trudeau came tail between the legs. I know he literally wears like animal outfits sometimes, so I don't, maybe that did happen, but that's even like
goddamn.
If I was Trump, I'd be like, all right, since you lost that deal, you got to show up, photo op, full blackface. You have to do it.
Yeah,
like, you have to do blackface. And you have to say it was your idea.
Yeah,
I'd be like, that would be like we won't do tariffs, but you just have to like show up to the White House, and he would probably support the tariffs. Like, like you'd be like, maple syrup. Sorry.
Well, the numbers game is crazy. It's like just the numbers, the arbitrage between both Canada and Mexico and the United States of just. Obviously, the raw numbers are crazier from, because the United States is so much bigger, but by percentage of economies, it's not even fucking close. There's no bargaining power.
No,
there's just none, dude. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, I know. Again, we all see, like, it just seems like a lot of common sense stuff, but like when common sense gets beat out of people's head, and these were people scared to walk down the same aisle without the arrows directing them during COVID. So common sense has been lost. Like, you have to realize it's a long process. There's a lot of people that still have not gotten their common sense back, and their lack thereof has been reaffirmed by all the media they watch. So it's kind of that it's going to take a while for these people. I'm not willing to wait, and I don't really care about extending olive branches to them anymore. But like, it's kind of like clipping a dog's nails at this point, where none of them ever want it to happen, but it always hurts when they don't have them clipped and stuff, and they'll shriek and yelp even if you're not actually doing anything to them. But at the end of the day, the dog needs their nails clipped. So let's talk about true romance. That's why we're here, right? We're here. Jared, eventually we'll get Crooked Smile adapted into a screenplay directed by Mel Gibson. Eventually.
That would be great.
Eventually.
Although Flight Risk, I heard, was not great.
Fake news.
Okay. I figured it was fake news.
Fake news. It's okay. Thank you for bringing that up, because I haven't had a venue to talk about this. Nobody's seen it. There's been a couple people that have. And it just came out because they marketed that movie as the director of Hacksaw Ridge has a new film out. Like they were really scared about putting his name on there. Then he crushes on Rogan. He comes out. He just, everyone remembers why they like Mel Gibson and why they hate him too. And Flight Risk comes out. He says on Rogan, he's like, I just made like a fun, stupid thriller movie. That's exactly what it is. It's fun as hell. There's an Indian guy flirting with a white woman the whole time on a pilot, like a pilot flirtation, like it's Bob's and Vagine happening, dude. It's amazing. It's all of it is great. It's absurd. It's got like that 70s show Topher Grace, like the same character, but if he was laundering money like Marty Bird from Ozark. It's all of it is great. Mark Wahlberg is awesome in it. Am I going to say it's like this amazing thing that I'm going to watch over and over again? No, but you will not regret 90 minutes spent on that movie. I don't understand why people think that it was like, it didn't fail at what it was trying to do. And now movies nowadays, every movie has to be looked at as Oscar bait, no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, some sci-fi thing that's meant to be, they're like, yeah, but it's doing so much more than that. Everyone always has to talk about it. Like, there's so much film content and there's so much film school production. Like, there's a lot of film school overproduction, especially since like the writer's strike and everything. There's all these people do is just talk about movies now. And
Pamela Anderson, Criterion Closet.
Yeah, like exactly.
Everyone's like, cinephile.
That energy of like 58-year-old actress that's now been rediscovered after being oppressed for so many years. Now decides she's going to tell you how much Fellini changed, how much on the set of Baywatch she was actually reading Ulysses and watching Fellini films. That was actually happening to her and Tommy Lee. They had big cinephiles, dude. Huge cinephiles. The sex tape's expertly shot. I watched it on 35 millimeter. The screen, they screened it down here. I watched it in 35 millimeter. But but there's like all that. But then Mel Gibson just comes out with. I was talking about this with Jack, where I was like, I think eras should be really defined by not their greatness in terms of like great films that everyone talks about forever, but they're consistent fun films. They're consistent 90-minute to 100-minute kind of action, stupid, suspend your belief films. You know, like they're the movies. I forget what the movie's called, but Kurt Russell getting chased through the desert after his wife gets kidnapped by trucker rednecks. Amazing movie. I forget what it's called. Don't care to remember what it's called, but I loved it. You know, and that's what Flight Risk is. So Crooked Smile after The Passion. Then that becomes then we go, yeah. I think it's perfect.
Well, I'd love Shia LaBeouf to play me, and I think he's friends with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Yeah, I think they're friends. They're on Canceled Island together.
Yeah, that's weird because Shia was kind of the "He Will Not Divide Us." That was kind of weird. But then what was it, that pop artist that he was with, Twigs, whatever.
Yeah, Twigs. FKA.
Formerly known as Twigs.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's currently known as, but but she
FKA Twigs.
FKA, probably. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the next album, but but yeah, that would be great, dude. And then, you know, like I said, it could even be like Mel Gibson could be an older person in the movie, and then S. Craig Zoller directs it, and you have Zoller, Gibson, and and Shia LaBeouf, dude, as you.
It would be great. And
can we shoehorn a composite Mel Gibson character into Crooked Smile? I feel like we could.
I think he could. Yeah, he could play like a drug dealer or something. Yeah, he could. Yeah.
Jared, did you ever lose a ton of weight when you were a junkie? Or were you just kind of stable in that?
No, I would get down to like 125 probably.
Okay. I'm just wondering if you do like
that is
Christian Bale, like a starving yourself actor kind of thing, you know, I'm prepping for the role.
Well,
you know,
that would be hard for the role because there would be weight fluctuation.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have to make him look like shit and then make him look better and then go back and forth. I
know a way to do that. Severe drug addiction.
Yeah,
I think that's what you'd have to
method
do.
acting.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Meth acting. It would just be meth acting. Yeah.
We're trying.
Yeah. They're like, man, Shia's going out of control. We just like don't understand what he did, and then he finds out that movie's come out. They're like, it's his masterpiece.
Yeah.
We now understand. But we watched True Romance for this because I hadn't seen it in years. It's always been a very fun kind of. I've always loved the 2,000-pound TV that all the blinds have to be shut with the black leather couch with holes ripped in it, like that frat house level of movie always on. I have such fond memories of that, and anything Tarantino does is played on those in those venues quite regularly. But this is a Quentin Tarantino script, of course, directed by Tony Scott, rest in peace, legend Tony Scott. Very much in the vein of what I was talking about, the competent kind of mid-budget to big budget thriller guy. I mean, you talk boats, ships, Trains, all of that stuff. He's really big into those. Crimson Tide, you know, Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, The Fan, which is where Robert De Niro is obsessed with. I think it's Wesley Snipes who plays for the Giants. That's a great movie. But I love True Romance. Jared, tell me your history with this movie. I know you had seen it before and you were excited to cover this again.
Yeah, I had seen it before a long time ago, and then I did see it in January of 2020, right before COVID. I went to Quentin Tarantino's theater. He has a theater in LA, like the Beverly Theater or something like that. And I had some friend and like AA people. We were like, oh, let's go see True Romance. So I saw it in the theater in January 2020. Then COVID happened, and I hadn't really thought about it, and I forgot. I'm like retarded. Like I'm realizing this. Like I just watched like Mulholland Drive and like The Revenant, and I do have like brain damage. I just completely forget movies, and then I can rewatch them, and it's like the first time I've seen them. So this one, I forgot that Tom Sizemore was in it.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even remember that.
Dude, Tom Sizemore, a cop busting people, but he was arguably the biggest drug addict on the set, probably.
And Sean Penn, both him and Sean Penn are dead.
Chris
from drugs.
Chris Penn, right?
Chris Penn, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris Penn.
Sean Penn is very much alive. If you haven't seen what he does on the internet, oh my God. Or he goes to Ukraine and just cries. I just think like 7 trillion could be a start. And
can I say something about Ukraine really quickly?
No. Yeah, of course.
Okay, right before COVID, I was selling something on Facebook Marketplace. I sold a camera bag to like this guy, and he was really weird. And he's like, I'm really into filming stuff and all that. And he added me on Instagram. So we remained friends. And then like COVID happens, and then the Ukraine war happens, and he was posting things on Instagram in like 2020, 2021 about him learning Ukrainian. And then the Ukraine war happens. He literally goes there for like a year, and he's like dating a Ukrainian girl, and he's all about Zelensky, obsessed with Ukraine. Then he sort of disappears for like 7 months, and he comes back, and he is like full-fledged Hitler, like on Instagram, like Hitler's the man. We need to wipe these Jews out. Like the Jews are trying to destroy Ukraine. Zelensky's a fucking Jew. And I just have a theory that similar to that guy that was shooting at Trump, this guy like went over. It's like, what was he even doing over there?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy got MK Ultra.
He might have got deployed. They might have activated him for sure. Yeah. I wouldn't be dude, they got sleeper cells everywhere, man. I just
that's what this guy was.
Yeah, I try not to get like super into that because it's really depressing if you find out that. And I do think that there are people who like make too many connections sometimes where they're not there, but like there for sure are like sleeper cell patsy people just like ready to be deployed at any time. And you may have made friends on Facebook Marketplace with one of them. And I knew a guy who was a DJ that got gang stalked, dude, and I felt bad for him because I didn't believe him, but like, if I believe that he believed it, and it was really sad, and he would like document it as though he was going to die. And dude, this dude was just like a DJ at a club. I'm like, dude, I just don't think anybody's doing that to you, but whatever, he would always just be like, he would highlight like random letters on a Craigslist ad that he thought nobody else could see except for him. And then he would highlight like whatever combination would be like, I'm going to kill you. And then he would be like, yeah, nice try. And I'm like, dude.
Was he on meth? I used to do a very similar thing on Craigslist.
Probably. I mean, you're talking about techno DJ in, the 2010s. Probably.
Yeah, he might have been, because I used to do a very similar thing on Craigslist where I would like search for keywords. I thought there was like human trafficking going on Craigslist, and I would look for keywords, and like I was like developing like a Rolodex of keywords that human traffickers were using, and I don't think it was real.
Yeah, but again, like I felt bad for him, but to be honest, it was like kind of like, damn, let me see what he said today. Like, it was like, fuck, this might be.
I know. We all have that.
Like you're like, I'm not laughing at you. It's the continuing story. It's a serialized program on my feed. No idea what he's up to now. I'm not going back to find out either, because I'm going to find out way more depressing stuff about other people, I'm sure. Yeah. But yeah, True Romance, Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dios mío, Patricia Arquette. Something about a woman with bad teeth, dude. I don't know what it is. Bad teeth set me the fuck off.
Yeah,
man.
Me too.
In a good way. Like I don't get it, dude. And I remember it from kissing Kate Barlow in Holes. I remember I'd be like, damn, dude, she has like weird teeth. I love her. And then Lost Highway, which is just basically Skinamax. fucking porn, which amazing. And she is unreal. Christian Slater, they're a perfect, like, they're not tweakers, which is funny, like, but they're tweaker coded big time. Like, like in a way, like they have like the weird like flop house thing going on, trash everywhere. They're constantly eating fast food if they're eating at all, and they're kind of like binge eating and stuff. And they have like the kind of like both are. One guy is very delusional, you know, and Tarantino talks about writing the script. It was definitely supposed to be a lot more like about him, you know, like writing a big script and creating his own personal project and all of that. And he was pretending that he was writing Natural Born Killers, and the original script would have like flashbacks to actually the scenes in Natural Born Killers, and they're like, dude, scale this back. And he knew it too. He's like, yeah, we can't, like, this is just like fun. And he had Reservoir Dogs come out before, and Reservoir Dogs got him like the kind of like, wow, this is the next guy up. And Tony Scott was like, I got to direct one of his films, and he wanted Reservoir Dogs, and they're like, well, Quentin wants to do that himself, and he's like, can we do what about this one, you know, True Romance? He's like, fine, anything that he did is fine. And there was negotiations between the smaller studio that was putting it together, and Tony Scott gets attached to it. But I find it to be there's a million times that this movie can like lose it, I think, and they don't. It almost does a bunch of times. The minute like all the mobsters and gang members come in, you know, from Christopher Walken coming in, that iconic scene with Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken. But after that, you're kind of like, man, did this get too big? And it's tough to get, you know, but the plane lands. And I think a lot of that is Tony Scott. I think it's a good script, great script by Quentin Tarantino. But Tony Scott is like, no, this has to like put asses in seats and entertain all levels of IQ. And I like that.
Yeah, no, it's great that Tony directed it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a lot different if Quentin did it, because it is like it actually reminds me of Natural Born Killers, but almost like more packaged for a universal audience. It's like the perfect 90s movie, really, in that way. And it has an unbelievable cast.
Yeah.
That you don't, I mean, I don't know if they knew what they were doing, if that was like an accident. It just was a beautiful accident. I don't know, but I mean, everybody's cast perfectly. Even like the Jewish producer guy is like,
I love him.
Amazing. It's perfect.
I love the like super Jewish Hollywood arguments all throughout it. It's fantastic. It's Andy Garcia's character. I think that's Andy Garcia, right? The guy who
that Andy Garcia?
I thought it was. I could be completely wrong.
It does look like Andy Garcia.
Yeah, I actually didn't know if that was him or not, but that's probably worth looking up in there. But the character, the guy who gets the cocaine exploded all over the place, and
that's a great scene.
Has to do that. So yeah, he's no, he's not. It's not him. I don't know why I thought that was him, but anyways,
it does look a lot like
I was like, Andy Garcia, that's a guy that's in every movie during that time. So it's like you're kind of like, it's Bronson. Oh, it's Bronson Pinchot. Duh, dude, that's the guy from Perfect Strangers, and he does a bunch of audiobooks for like, he's a really good audiobook guy. My bad, Bronson.
And he's not Jewish, that guy?
I mean, Pinchot, I don't know. I have no idea.
Probably not. Okay.
Yeah, there is a website called ishejewish.com, by the way. So you can type that.
Oh,
in.
I know.
It's Jared's homepage. Actually.
Dude, there's wild things. People are trying to find if Andy Reid was Jewish. Like, there's a lot.
Andy Reid?
No, Andy Reid is Mormon. Yeah. But
that's wild
Mormon
too.
It's Mormon.
Oh, wow.
Football is low-key Mormon. Like low-key Steve Young, you know, Andy Reid.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. BYU is powerhouse, man.
There's a good show. There's a good show called American. You know this new show, American Primeval?
No, what's that?
On Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've been wanting to watch that.
I knows about the new shit. I know about the old stuff.
It's actually a good show.
Really? Yeah.
It's about Mormons in like the 1880s or something, and like they were motherfuckers. Like they were.
Oh, I love all old school Mormon stuff.
Yeah.
I love HBO's Big Love. HBO's Big Love, I think, is like the most underrated HBO show of all time. And it's great.
There was an independent documentary I watched, happened to be like a friend of a friend, clued me in on it, and it's about the history of psychedelic use in the early Mormon church, and it's tight, dude. We should watch that for the pod. It's so funny.
You have been talking about. We do
so
need to watch
funny.
That.
Yeah, it's so, because it's like Joseph Smith. He's getting ready to preach, and he's like, "All right, he'll to the audience. Let me drink this brew, and then we're gonna wait 40 minutes, and then I'm gonna start to spit some fire. So it's literally just him coming up on like a shroom trip or something. You know, it's just he's got to wait to the right moment. It's so funny.
Because you think about like he might have just had a podcast if he's waited like 100 years, you know, or 150 years. You might have just been like, oh no, we can get you an audience, and you could just trip out and like talk. But back then it was like, fuck that, dude. I'll just start like a religion.
Yeah,
you know, like I'll just talk, and then people will gather because these guys are probably always cool and charismatic. They're probably like that. Like everyone always talks about like, oh, who falls for that? It's like, you know, you would have fallen for that. That fool's cool. You know what I mean? Like you would have sold that to you like, like nobody's business. But Christian Slater's another guy too. Christian Slater is just, you see him pop up now in random. I remember when he was in Mr. Robot. But he always has, like, hey man, let's see what you got on that computer. He's always got that like Weasley voice, but it works really well in these like 90s. Like Gen X, like I can quote any movie, and you know, where they like speak in movie quotes to each other, which is very Tarantino. And I've always loved Christian Slater and Heathers. My mom, that was like a mainstay in my household. My mom loved Heathers, the film with him and Winona Ryder, which is a very fun dark comedy. If anybody hasn't seen, it's kind of a cult classic, but I think a lot of people have. But I really love, you know, just getting back to like Tarantino. I love that, like, I never get sick of Tarantino, but I can tell that, like, his influence, people have to do, like, all these random things with their characters because of, like, Tarantino influence. Like, you'll just be like, oh, this mobster, he really likes Nutter Butters. Isn't that crazy? Like, and he's always eating, like, weird snacks, or, like, has a dog that's, like, three-legged and he loves it more than anything. It's just kind of this thing, but it's, like, it's always so charming when you see it done actually from the source, and you see it in True Romance. But Sai, would you? Oh, he fucking leaves. But what did you think of this? What did you think?
I'll hold it in. No, I loved it. Like I'm a Tarantino fan. I'm not the expert like some people are. But because I'd see people online being like, I couldn't get into this one as a Tarantino fan. Like,
crazy.
Is this? I know, and I'm like, it's kind of quintessential. I don't know. You just see his lines come out through this. It's great. Yeah. And I think it's perfectly paced. I love just the scene changes. Everything. We're just really. It just escalates so beautifully, you know. And you're kind of in the bit. You're like, whoa, how are we fucking here already? I thought the beginning, the love story, is really beautiful. Honestly,
it is.
Is it really? No. Yeah. And also, the hitter, dude, Hans Zimmer doing the music, like, what the fuck? Everyone was in this movie. It's dude, crazy.
Spamming the xylophone, dude.
I know, dude. Spamming,
they're like, do a bunch of meth and then ding ding, or do a bunch of coke, ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
But I love
you're excused, by the way, if you need to go use the restroom. Podcast.
No, I fucking
torture.
Yeah. No, Christian Slater is so, because I do know him from modern stuff. Like Mr. Robot and his appearance on Curb Your Enthusiasm, where he holds Larry for hoarding the caviar. You know,
dude, yeah.
And so just to see him, he was like a huge star back then.
The man,
right? And
he was the man.
Crazy to, I don't know. It's just weird seeing.
Dude, he was like a good actor version of James Dean, is what I would say. Like James Dean sucks. Like I East of Eden is still in my brain. Does like 3 movies, dies, and everyone's like, this is the best catalog of anything. But Christian Slater has that kind of weird, awkward, like kind of scare the hoes, but the hoes like that they're scared kind of thing with him. And I've anytime he's in a movie, I'm like, nice. I do the Leonardo pointing at the screen from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love Christian Slater.
Yeah, he's not incredibly good looking. I always thought he was incredibly good looking.
Yeah.
And then I like looked at him through this. He's like because when I first saw this movie, I was on meth and I thought he was like the man. And then I
maybe there's something to that. Yeah, maybe there's something.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, he's like a loser. And then he kind of gets this hot girl. I didn't realize he was a loser.
It's kind of true. And you know what? I don't think a lot of like Gen X people do either. I think at the time, like, he is a loser. His character is written as kind of a loser. It's Tarantino writing his scripts at the video store, kind of, you know, he's at a comic book store, kind of has that same, like, it's Tarantino kind of laughing at himself a little bit and kind of like laughing at like the dream of just being some like regular guy with delusions of grandeur and stuff. But yeah, you're right. Like the Elvis glasses, like it's fucking lame, dude. Like it's like really lame. Like and being into that, talking to Val Kilmer's Elvis. That's Val Kilmer. That's
Val Kilmer, because I saw Val Kilmer was in the movie and I couldn't find him.
Yeah, You never see him. I mean, he's very he's when he's taking a piss, dude, and he's singing the Elvis song, and then in the restaurant, right? But also Gary Oldman, Wigger performance of all time.
Yeah, it's the best
Sirius
Wigger
Black.
performance of all time.
He is Sirius Black in this.
Yeah. He's so black that you could see him and actually wonder if he was like a quarter. Like you wouldn't even question him if he does say the N-word, by the way.
Oh yeah, he sure does. And he's watching a big fat black girl get her titties sucked, and he's like, "You're not even looking at that. You're looking at me because you're gay." Like, I love that, dude. And but the other one, or I saw this behind the scenes interview with Gary Oldman on the set, and it's great because like some people want it, like in the comments, they're like, "Oh, I wish he did the voice." I'm like, no, he's British. They don't do like. Those guys don't do method acting. That's like a stupid American thing. Like he's just speaking in his Gary Oldman voice. And he said that he was like trying to find the voice for the character. Like he's like, I didn't want to do like a blaxploitation like voice. Like I wanted it to be like a white guy doing a black guy's voice. He's like, but I needed a black guy's voice to copy. So he was just like filming another movie and had this script in his hand. And he was listening. I think he was in New York. It might have been the Sid and Nancy movie. I'm not sure when that time was, but I know that had a lot of New York scenes. But he was just heard some black guy talking and he was like, "Excuse me, mate, you come into my trailer over here," like that. And then the guys, of course the black guy's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he's like, can you talk on here? I just want to like tape your voice, which I'm like, what black guy is agreeing to that? To like some white guy saying, "Come into the trailer, let me tape you," like most of the time, like they're just like, I don't, this might not be for me, dude. Like I don't think this is it. But he like took that guy's voice and like copied it, which is pretty funny because like that. Can you imagine if you're the guy and everyone's like, that guy sounds like you? He's like, I know it is me. I talked to Gary Oldman. You guys never believed me. But yeah, I love the appearance of fish tanks. That was a big thing. Everyone had a fish tank, dude.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper had one.
And just in movies and in general, like people just had fish tanks. They were kind of
impossible.
They were kind of white trash coated a little bit, or kind of trash.
I had one. Yeah, my dad was into it.
Yeah, like it would be like the poor person's like ball out thing. Like you would get a fish tank, and they're a bitch, dude. Cleaning a fish tank sucks. I didn't have one, but my cousin had one, and I cleaned it with him one time. I was like, I'm never doing this shit again. This sucks. But like, it was just Asians and like kind of like Wigger white guys that would have fishes like back then. It was just such a. I loved all of the scenery, the rooms. Like the rooms were very realistic. I love Dennis Hopper's kind of little shack that he has. And Dennis Hopper, who I love in small doses. I don't really love when he's a lead in anything for the most part, but I like when he's either a villain or Blue Velvet, where he's huffing oxygen or whatever laughing gas or whatever it is that he has. I love that part in it. But yeah, I love this even more the second time, because I thought the first time I saw it, I was like, that got really stupid and absurd, but I actually didn't think it did. And you brought up the romance side about like the love story being kind of like beautiful at the beginning. It's that's Tony Scott, because that's one thing Quentin Tarantino just like doesn't have other than Jackie Brown. It's like for the most part, like he's like the most asexual director of all time. Like he really
he's got a lot of baggage, childhood to work through. It's who knows what's going on there.
Yeah, and if you guys
doesn't have that gear.
If you guys have read, well, he gets. I mean, it's feet if he's in it. I mean, people say he loves the feet, so he does throw the feet up like in every movie. So maybe that's all he needs.
Was there feet in that movie?
I didn't notice feet. I didn't notice feet. I remember in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Margot Robbie's sandal.
Yeah, I remember that.
Feet. And then I think in Margaret Qualley too in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she has her feet on the dashboard. I'm not even a foot guy, but I notice it. Like it's just like, you really want the feet in there. So, but yeah, that feels like a Tony. That's why it's such a perfect like mesh of like Tony Scott being like working within like, we're making this, it has to have these elements here, and I mean, and Tarantino's writing that love story into the script, of course, but like I think it really kind of like the weird like silhouette montage of like sex and stuff like that's really like that's what you watch like a 90s movie for. It's just it's great.
Yeah, the sex scene made me realize that there's no real sex scenes anymore.
No.
Yeah. And that was a really good, tasteful short. That was a good sex scene.
Zoomers killed one, dude. Desert phone booth, dude. That's Lenny Kravitz video sex, dude. That shit rules.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Oh, also great soundtrack, dude. When Brad Pitt's fucking Pineapple Express character, which Pineapple Express stems from this fucking movie. Brad Pitt's I guess
Soundgarden.
Tarantino said that like he wasn't really supposed to be like a huge like pothead, but Brad Pitt decided to do that, and Tarantino was like, I love that. Works like perfectly, because he's an idiot, you know, and he like snitches on everybody without like trying to. He's just one of those oversharing like druggy guys, and like where everybody's chill, so I can tell anybody anything kind of guys. And he I love when at the end when all the mobster guys come in towards the end and like Soundgarden's Outside comes on. Oh dude, it's such a like 90s needle drop. And back when you would like take a song, that now the copyright laws are just insane, but you could just put like a sick ass song in your movie. And I know it's a Tony Scott like bigger budget film and stuff, but you could just like, I'm gonna use the Soundgarden song in my movie, and it would just get in there, and then Soundgarden would sell a bunch of albums, and everybody would, you know, for the most part,
like the movie studio was owned the record company or something,
right? Something like that.
This like cross pollination stuff.
Yeah, but also, now you have to hear like that underwater zoomer singing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" because like they can't use "Smells Like Teen Spirit," but they're like it's Marvel and it's a Marvel movie, and it's like
remember the Batman?
Oh yeah.
That was crazy,
dude. They overused with Robert Pattinson. That one. They overused the fuck. Yeah, they overused the fuck out of that song. Like every 5 minutes, they're like,
I didn't think that movie was that bad, but that part pissed me off. Like I was just like, we don't need Nirvana. I get it. He's emo Batman. I get it.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't think it was bad, but I thought it was okay. But then I realized later, like it was COVID, and it was kind of our first movie that we got back.
Yeah, it was Tiger King. Yeah,
and there is a line, and there was a line in the movie where she says, "All these like bureaucrats with white privilege."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
remember that? And then I was like, so it was like they still didn't realize, like, hey, we don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, oh, it wasn't that woke. This is a really good movie.
It's like, lady, you know, you're a fucking thief that fucking is supposed to be into like S&M bondage. Like that's what Catwoman is. Okay. Like no one cares about AOC Catwoman. Like,
and she was bad. I always fight with my friend because I always say Zoe Kravitz is a nepo. It's like it's nepotism, like that she got to direct her own movie and stuff. And and he's like, there's no such thing as nepotism. Like if someone gets a nepotism, like a, what's the word? How do you like verbalize that? If they get an opportunity due to nepotism and they don't do incredibly well, they'll never get another opportunity. And I don't agree with that.
I mean, I will say I think there's a middle ground where I think like you're going to get the first choice. Like they're going to be like, let's let them try, because I get it. Right. Like I'm from sports, man. Peyton Manning's kid, I saw Peyton Manning's kid was like 14 years old throwing the football. I'm like, I can't wait till he's a pro. He's going to be a beast. I want to make sure he can do it, you know? And I get it. There's more of a physical ability and they're not like storytelling. So it's a little bit different, but I do think there's a little bit to the genetics part of it. But yeah, I still think they're going to maybe they won't get a job to direct another one, but they're going to be able to get money easier than anyone else to do it. Like they have a Rolodex that other people don't have to be like, well, I'm going to shoot like an indie film. She'll probably do like some sort of indie or a documentary or something, and she'll have no trouble getting money for that. So I think there's like I think you're right and your friend's right slightly, you know, like it's like, I think it gets noticed more because that movie was stupid. That was like the Channing Tatum, Jeffrey Epstein movie, right? Yeah. Horrible. I didn't watch it, but I'm like, that's where we are right now. So I don't need to watch this. Like that's it. Just come on. Like it was terrible. And I could just tell it was meant to be like a smirking, like TrueAnon movie. And it was just no thanks. But yeah, like other things I like about this movie, James Gandolfini, you see the kind of the birth of Tony Soprano in this. So you get the Tony Soprano character. However, there's like it's also kind of weird to see him like do these weird, like comical, almost like vaudevillian facial expressions.
Yeah, when he punches Patricia Arquette.
When he punches her, he does the fucking Jello pudding Bill Cosby eyeballs.
Yeah,
he goes like that, and like he punches her. I'm like, that is so strange, but it's a crazy punch, man. And like Margot Robbie talks about like that's like her favorite scene from like it's like her favorite movie. She said she had that same theater that you were talking about, Tarantino's theater, shut down, and like for her birthday to like watch True Romance, and she's like, I love when she gets punched. And I was like, damn.
Well, do you think Tony told him to do that? That was one of the weirdest little facial expressions.
Very strange. I don't know. I know, but it is a quirky Tarantino villain thing. Like where they're his villain or like his like cold-blooded killers are like, isn't it so funny that these two guys are on the way to kill somebody and they're arguing about, you know, quarter pounders? You know, like it's there's this irony to Tarantino, so where maybe it's in the script, I don't know. And I know these things are available. There are people who just read scripts. I don't understand. I mean, unless you're trying to write them, why would reading a script sounds horrible unless you're trying to write them. Because I couldn't just sit down and read a script. It's not that entertaining to me. Show me the movie. But there are people there. Maybe that's in there. Maybe that's not. I wouldn't know enough to say. But like it does fit the Tarantino script. Like he's, you know, this guy's going to kill this girl. He loves killing people. He talks about how easy it is to kill people after your first one, but he takes forever in doing it. And he kind of likes her. And, you know, Tarantino's woman love, white knighting is all around this film too, because objectively, I don't know that I would take in Patricia Arquette. Well, maybe I would, but I would think about it a little bit more when someone says I was a call girl for 4 days and there's a pimp after me. I'd be like, this is not a good idea, you know. But like there's this, you know, her character is painted as kind of like, you know, it's good to do that, and I don't want young men to think that that's a good idea for that. It's kind of a body count doesn't matter movie. I don't think Andrew Tate I don't think Andrew Tate liked this movie.
She had only had 3 clients.
You got to add. I believe in Andrew Tate's rule of you add
10x.
You add. You 3x that number, and then for sure, there's for sure more than that. So she did say that, but I would say that too if I were her. But yeah, I was just like, it's kind of a, you know, again, I'm a wife guy, but I'm not like a random girl guy, like where I trust them. So I'm always just like, Slater, dude, what are you doing? But then you realize, like, what's his life? It's like, you know, it's kind of the classic like thing. It was where a guy's just doing nothing and finds something. So it's like you might as well just do it, right? It's kind of like a Gen X noir in a way, in that sense, like where it's like there's that the mystery is just, is there something, you know? And he's just kind of hunting around and looking for clues. And I love how he becomes smarter by not knowing anything throughout the movie. Like every decision he makes is the right one. Like when he holds up Bronson Pinchot in the elevator, that's a classic scene. Like where he they're all like waiting to do the drug bust, and then he puts the gun in and he's like get that, and he's like, I'm just fucking with you, and you're like, no, like you're right, dude, like you're so right. And he just constantly, it's like reverse luck of Barry Lyndon, like where towards the end he kind of he just becomes lucky and lucky and lucky. He survives the shootout and stuff. And I watched it this morning and I'm like, man, I need to own a physical copy of this because I will watch it again, because I just, people had been talking about it and I remember seeing it and really liking it, but then just like kind of moving on to something else. And I'm like, it might be the best script Tarantino's written, in my opinion.
Yeah, could be. I mean, it's not my favorite movie of Quentin Tarantino's,
no,
but I mean, the Dennis Hopper scene with Christopher Walken is probably the greatest scene ever written. And it's also where everyone gets their Christopher Walken impression from, is that scene.
Yes.
I mean, he's like peak Christopher Walken. It's such a Tarantino, like he's got to throw the N-word. It's just so funny. I mean, it's just perfect Tarantino.
I know.
And,
that scene
you're allowed to like that scene, even though it could be misconstrued as like a racist or whatever.
All I heard is that the Italians can say the N-word now, is what I would say. If I was Italian, I would love that scene. I mean,
you know Garibaldi, right?
No.
Garibaldi, they say that he was the guy that started the Italian kingdom in 1863, and it's often argued that Garibaldi united Italy, but what he really did was divide Africa.
Damn.
It's a joke about Sicily.
Oh, I was like, yeah, tell me more. Yeah, I see.
That's like an old Italian joke.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I have zero Italian blood. I just,
me too, actually.
I have like nothing. I know, and I'm like, California, the Italians are just like, they would just wear like they just wear like, you know, nice golf shirts out here. So there's not like the Tony Soprano Italians out here. So I'm always just
not at all.
Such a mythical.
There was San Jose had an Italian mafia.
Yeah, for sure.
There's labor unions out here, so why wouldn't there be?
We were just talking about Original Joe's multiple episodes in a row.
Exactly.
Mob Central,
No, I that scene is great though, because, and I love the Dennis Hopper character is great too, because he does the exact dad move that you should do. It's a lifetime of great dad moves in like a span of a day, which I love, where he's just like, you're a fucking retard. What are you doing to Christian Slater? I do love the scene, by the way, when they get there and Christian Slater does the white trash. Go get a 6-pack of beer, imported beer. Like, this is a special occasion. Get the imported beer.
Yeah.
And then she comes back and after all the hubbub and he's like, she's like, I didn't get you any chicken. He goes, oh, I'm starving. She goes, it's only 9 a.m. It's like, you were going to get beer though. And I love these, like, there's a really good like white trash element to this that I really like. But Dennis Hopper's like, you're an idiot, the Christian Slater. You're what are you doing? What are you doing? And then after a while, he's like, yeah, and Dad, I also killed somebody. He's like, what the fuck? Ex-cop finds out he killed a guy that he loves, and killed a guy that is loved by a bunch of people but hated by any common man. And he's like, son, you did a good deed there, and dies for his son. And you're just like, damn, man. Like, and it's all comedic and funny, but you're like, damn, it's like kind of an alpha move, dude. Like, just kind of like, you make fun of, you get a cigarette. Can I have one of those Chesterfields? I know I'm gonna die here, so let me go out like a beast. Let me go out like Tony Montana and Scarface, but the verbal version, and tell Christopher Walken that he has a different kind of blood. He does a little race science on Christopher Walken, who is not Italian, by the way.
No, I think he's like German,
hardcore German. His parents owned a German bakery for years, and like it was he just, but he was in Abel Ferrara's King of New York, which is a classic, I think. And there's a Andre Nicotina song that starts with a Christopher Walken lyric or a line from King of New York, and that's where I get my Christopher Walken impression, which I don't do. It's kind of hacky, but it's like,
what song is it?
It's called Savage as Fuck. It's a Smoothie song technically, but Andre, it's like, if you were to go online,
I know that song where it's like, I put my dick on the table or something.
But the beginning goes, from here on now, nothing goes down unless I'm involved. No blackjack, no dope deals, no nothing. And then he says, you guys got fat while everybody starved. Like, he says it like, but it's like, it's more of it's not the classic Christopher Walken. It's like more of an amped up, like weird Christopher Walken, like kind of like mobster Christopher Walken, which is similar to what he's doing in True Romance too, but like, it's not the like the other Christopher Walken is like the Pulp Fiction one with the watch up his ass, with the dad's watch up his ass, and he's like, I hit it up my ass, like that's the other one that he does that's really that's really good. But I always, the Andre Nicotina line is, nobody gets that unless you're from like the Bay Area, but like everyone knows that line, and nobody even knows what the movie's from half the time. Like, it's just like, it's not a super common.
I don't think a lot of people have seen it. And Abel Ferrara, have you seen his interview where he's like super fucked up on heroin?
Dude, no, I don't know which one you're talking about, but yeah, he's like really fucked up. Yeah, he was like, he looks like if like David Lynch had like a hardcore drug problem. Like, if you see him, like just like damn, dude, like Brady Sinellis talks about like seeing that dude in like bathroom stalls, just like blowing, like going crazy, like crazy for like 80s New York time. Like, people are like, whoa, dude, you have a problem, And,
well, he had like black shit all over his fingertips and stuff. I mean, I don't know what he was up to, but he went on like Letterman and just was totally fucked up.
Yeah, but yeah, and I just I want to watch this movie again. I want to watch it again and again. It definitely could serve as a good background movie too if you see it a bunch of times, because there's just certain parts that you pay attention to that you'll just you forget about, or like certain classic moments. The shootouts are all expertly done, and Tony Scott. Everybody talks about Ridley Scott now, and Tony Scott killed himself.
Are they brothers?
They are.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, and Tarantino talks about this. He said for many years, he would say, like, a lot of people would, in the 80s, Ridley Scott was the guy, dude. And you're talking about Blade Runner, like these massive films, and, Tony Scott killed himself. I could have it wrong, but wasn't he like struggling with his sexuality or no, he got a terminal diagnosis. It was like some kind of, no, he was married. Yeah. I'm not going to say he was gay, but I thought it was, he was sick, right? I think it was something. Oh yeah, he said he had cancer or something. He jumped off of a bridge.
Jesus.
Yeah, he jumped off the Vincent Thomas Bridge, I think is in LA. And where
the hell's that?
I don't know. Somewhere on the water. But he was saying there people had said that he had been fighting a lengthy battle with cancer and killed himself, but he just jumped, like he kind of jumped, but then the coroner was like, we didn't see evidence of that, so we don't know. But like, you look at his filmography, I love, dude. He did Top Gun, the original Top Gun.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 2, which is great. That's an excellent one. Days of Thunder, masterpiece. True Romance. Last Boy Scout's pretty good. Crimson Tide rules. That is a boomer. If you're boomer millennial, watch together. Gene Hackman arguing with Denzel Washington, kind of a mutiny on the ship movie. Classic movie to watch with the whole family. Enemy of the State's great. Man on Fire was a classic. Dakota Fanning debut back in the day with Denzel Washington.
Oh, that's him. Wow.
Yeah, dude. Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which rules. And then his
Does
last
it?
two, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. And then Unstoppable with which is the Chris Pine and Denzel. Denzel Washington did back-to-back train movies with Tony Scott, and then Tony Scott died.
Okay.
So that was his last one. But
is Travolta good in Pelham?
What's that? Yeah, Travolta. Oh yeah, Travolta's
okay.
great. He's on his his crazy goatee
yeah.
Everybody when he got kind of swollen and fat a little bit, he looks awesome.
Yeah. I was really high. I didn't like it, but I was really high.
Yeah, I liked it, and it's based off of it's a remake. I think there's the 70s one, which I haven't seen, but I haven't seen it since it came out, but I liked. Any good just movie that just is we're just making an action movie and it's well made. I always respect that guy because again, that's the sign of a dominant film industry is when you have your cool art movies, you have your cool indie movies, you have your cool big action throws, your big franchises, and all of them are kind of good. And in the early 2000s, you point to a time where I think film was really good is even the Spider-Man was good. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is good. And then you have Mulholland Drive coming out around the same time. There was a lot of good things happening, and it wasn't just one movement in film. It was just an overall everybody being good. And I know I'm sure it was a much more complicated era than that, and there were arguments between the factions. But as people who can go back and visit that time, we're always just man, this is great. And I think the 90s were like that too. And you know why a good reason for that is Harvey Weinstein. Hate to break it to you. This is produced by Harvey and Bob Weinstein. Bring him back.
Yeah, I think he's out of jail.
He served his time. Bring him back.
He's out of jail. Damn.
Yeah. Isn't he out of jail?
Yeah, out on jail, fresh out of bail, California.
Yeah.
I'm hearing Hoochie screaming.
He created some of the greatest movies of our lives,
dude. And indie stuff too, random, he would just do
Snowpiercer. Yeah,
Snowpiercer.
Yeah, not exactly the first one I'd go to. But, was that Bong Joon-ho?
Yeah, that was the Parasite guy.
Yeah. Oh, Red Scare will go. You'll hear Red Scare. They'll say he did nothing wrong. I'm look, he did something wrong, but I don't. When you actually get down to the bottom of it, you're always just okay, this was transactional.
Yeah, it's an economy. Yeah. It's
he was 40 years too late. He was 40 years too late on doing something, basically. And you're kind of okay, if he did this in the 50s, it would have just been business as usual. But then it was, it was that. So you're just kind of okay. And then he does his time. And I'm dude, bring him back. The guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no,
this is
for sure.
When people say Jewish people run the media, I'm bring this Jewish guy back.
Well, they used to, and then I think really we see all these movies getting really bad and politically whatever. That's when the Jews sort of took a step back. We might actually need to bring the Jews back.
You guys didn't you didn't appreciate us.
I mean, Jews gave us Top Gun. I mean, that's what.
Did they take over the weather? Is that what happened when they wanted to? They were
there's just other priorities going on.
Yeah,
I don't know, but so but yeah, that's that world. My uncle is a screenwriter, or he was, and he basically was a lawyer and then stepped away, and he wrote the first draft of The Italian Job. It didn't get picked up, but he made money. So my uncle for all the 90s was in Hollywood, selling scripts, making a lot of money. Nothing got made besides Driven. Do you know Driven?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. What is that?
It's like Days of Thunder, but incredibly terrible, and has Sylvester Stallone.
I do feel like I've seen it.
Okay, my uncle was hired by Sylvester Stallone to write that script. He won a Golden Razzie for it.
Let's go.
Damn.
So he's a winner. So he's a winner.
Yeah. And then he left. And then he left Hollywood in 2001. But he told me it was very understood.
That's a good one to go out on. It's good to go out with a Razzie, dude.
He's very proud of it. But,
yeah.
He would date women, and then they would be you have to understand that I'm dating you, but I'm gonna have to fuck producers and stuff to get roles and stuff.
Yeah, but and also the Razzies are wrong too, by the way. They don't if you look at historically of who wins Razzies, it's not that I don't know. They're just, it's like hater shit.
Like,
yeah, it's kind of Reddity. Like,
yeah.
I don't think he made the worst thing is what I'm
no, probably not. I think it was like 99 he won the Razzie, but you know, he told me that it was incredible. You know, he said he dated multiple women that told him like, I might have to fuck somebody. Like that's part of my job.
Yeah.
If I want to advance in my career. And it was, and he didn't like that. He ended up marrying my aunt, who's not an actress, but that was like incredibly
king right there, dude. That's a good movie. Yeah.
But he did say that he brought my aunt to the premiere of The Patriot, and Mel Gibson could not stop staring at my aunt and was like,
you got to let him have her. That's that's the rule.
Fortunately, my uncle loves Mel Gibson, so he's not mad about it. But like,
damn. And all the more reason he should direct Crooked Smile. It's like you know, you guys have long ties to each other.
We do,
Mel, do you remember
I was one of the first people to forgive him.
Yeah, that's true. And you are Jewish, so this is a big deal.
This could be like the Pepsi commercial with Caitlyn Jenner or whatever. It could be.
This could cause 1,000 years of peace. Yeah.
Well, Mel is appointed to save Hollywood, right? Officially by Trump.
He is appointed, with Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg, Stallone. I think it's Stallone, Wahlberg, and I don't know if it's Wahlberg. I think it's Stallone, Voight, and
it's Voight.
John Voight.
How do you not fuck with this administration? I'm sorry, dude. Like, come on, dude. Like, just for that alone, like, what? Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, and there was that. I forget what he says. I forget what happened because it was right before David Lynch died. Like literally, like moments before it was announced. I don't know when he actually died, but when it was announced, Trump had that thing where he says, like, I've appointed, these three gentlemen to fix Hollywood. He goes, or fix Hollywood. It's a very beautiful place, very cursed, very bad. It's like gone through some tough times. Like it's not great anymore. And so it's just, So Mel, first off, The Patriot, what a movie, what a premiere to go.
Yeah, great movie.
Patriot rules.
It's so good. I know I think it's a Roland Emmerich film. It's not directed by Gibson, but it's one of his best performances in my opinion.
The church scene, just fire, and there are all the historians like that never actually happened. It's like shut the fuck up, dude.
I wish you never happened.
And dude, the historians with Mel's movies are so fucking annoying, dude.
Yeah,
it's all this like actually Snopes shit that's like no one cares about.
But then guess what movie they don't touch? Hidden Figures. They don't realize that Taraji P. Henson did not get us to the moon. Like they don't realize
they actually weren't banned from using the bathroom. That was interesting how they just wrote that.
Exactly. It's like we're getting to the moon the white way. Michael Shannon saying that. Or wait, no, that's that. I'm thinking of the movie where the girl fucks the creature of the Black Lagoon. That's where Michael Shannon's the guy. Shape of Water, terrible film.
He's great. Where's he at? He's been gone.
Dude, are you talking about Shannon? Michael Shannon? Oh, I love with the last time, or not last time.
Oh, yeah.
We did Bug, right? Classic. Where he's ripping his fucking teeth out and stuff. I love that movie. But he said, so recently, the last thing I saw him in, he will still pop up. He's got hardcore Trump derangement, so he does. It's unfortunate, but like where he's like, if your grandparents support Trump, I don't care if it was a different time, kill them. You're like, whoa, he's like, they should die, so like we can have progress. He's like one of those people, but he played George Jones in this almost good Showtime. It's almost good. It's Jessica Chastain as Tammy Wynette, and George Jones is Michael Shannon is George Jones, and it's about their tumultuous kind of marriage. I kind of
recall that.
It's a good show for the first like 3 episodes, and then it just kind of falls off. But like he does a really nice job as George Jones, so I really liked that. But
can we talk about Rappaport for 30 seconds?
Yeah, thank you. I knew there was a guy, dude.
Get the fucking vax, dude. Yeah, and don't talk shit about.
You gotta put your all right, we're gonna take the fucking vaccine. And his lips are crackling with like herpes blood everywhere. And he's like, yeah, okay. Well, the thing is, you think you could go to Bibi Netanyahu and say we're not giving you more money? Bibi will bitch slap you, bro. Like we're gonna give him Israel money. I don't give a fuck. Like, and it's like, dude, like who is this for? Is this for like Jewish, like Gen X Jewish wigger guys that have like $1 million like just sitting around? Like,
I'm so glad we didn't skip the.
Yeah, thank you. I would have killed myself if we didn't talk about Michael.
Well, I think it's his best role.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny. Have you ever seen Copland?
Yeah,
it's like the same thing. It's like they took his character from there, like, and put him in there, but they're like, you're just instead of a cop's son, you're like an aspiring screen or a actor or something. But I love Rappaport's phenomenal in this.
He is good, and you know what? He does have good taste in music.
He's you know,
he does.
Dude, back in the day, rap audience was Jewish white dudes. Like it was like, you know, like it was the subculture of like, you know, from made by black people, but like the people that were like going to the stores and like buying the records and stuff, was Michael Rappaport, Jewish
and
guy.
signing the deals.
Yeah.
My uncle told me about this great artist. I'm gonna go buy the It's really funny, man. Like, Rappaport is, dude. I remember I first started realizing he was like cringe because I'm a Barstool Sports guy. Some people might say that's cringe. I disagree, but he got into it with Dave Portnoy. He used to work for Barstool. Dude. You want to talk about Gen X Jew war right there? And Michael Rappaport front-facing camera videos with like 2 inches from your face, yelling with spit on the camera. Incredible, dude.
They disagree about like a pizza joint or something. What was this?
No, Rappaport I think got fired
from
Barstool. Yeah, and I think he didn't like that because Dave used to just go on Fox News all the time. Like he'd go on Tucker, and he would
Dave is pretty openly supportive of Trump.
Pretty conservative. He's
his own thing. He's like a secret third thing.
Sometimes, like he's kind of like dumb about certain things, and he's obviously just like trillions to Israel all the time.
Is he?
Like,
is he? I've never heard him say anything about it.
He was big on the like campus protesting. Like he's like, you should be expelled if you're like in college and you protest. Like he was really stupid with that kind of stuff. But whatever. He's again.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, Rappaport is.
Yeah, it's funny. They're the same guy. Like they're the same guy. I think they
are very similar.
Yeah, they're very. I think it's like fighting fish, dude. They couldn't be in the same tank, and they like just were like staring at each other, like, and they're just like
circling back to the fish tanks.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't be in the same tank. Yeah, it's fish tanks, dude. That's exactly what's happening here. But you have Gary Oldman playing a wigger. You have a wigger playing an aspiring actor in Michael Rappaport. It's great. I mean, and I love his. Yo, dude, do you know how much fucking cocaine that you have? And he's like saying it at like the top of his lungs. Like, no, seriously, you have so much cocaine. I love that line, man.
Everyone delivered Brad Pitt, even though he only had like 8 lines. Just amazing. Sizemore is one of my favorite actors.
Love Sizemore, dude.
Yeah.
Love what Heat. Tom Sizemore is unreal.
Strange Days.
You know how that was.
I know.
We're going to talk about. We were originally going to talk about that, but I didn't want to be mad about a movie. I'm just not a fan. A lot of people love it. Isn't that a Wachowski joint?
No, that's Catherine Bigelow.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was I knew it was a woman.
She's pretty good though, Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah, Hurt Locker, right?
Hurt Locker.
Yeah, I like the Hurt Locker when it came out. No, for sure. I know. Because Strange Days is Ralph Fiennes, right? Ralph Fiennes, the guy. Okay, just Juliette Lewis. It is a similar movie though. It's like the druggy like couple kind of like similar, weird, like dimly lit. Sometimes random Mortal Kombat music is playing. Like that's another thing I love about True Romance is the scene. I think it's in Detroit, right? Where
it's Detroit like electronic music.
Yeah, Detroit electronic music, and it's like Mortal Kombat fight music kind of that's happening in the background while Gary Oldman's what's his name? Drexel?
Drexel Spivey.
Yeah, dude. That's so good.
And when he asks Christian Slater what his name is, he's like, oh, it sounds like a, he says the N-word, but he's like, a black guy.
Clarence.
Yeah, Clarence Wolseley or something.
Clarence's parents have a real good marriage. Shout out Eminem. One of my favorite 8 Mile rap battle lines is because the whole thing is where he makes fun of Mekhi. It's not. I don't know if it's Mekhi Phifer's character. I think it is actually.
I thought they were friends in that movie.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's with somebody else, right?
He makes fun of like a black guy for coming from a 2-parent home.
Yeah, because the black guy was in like trying to be in Detroit, and they would try to say, "White boy, this white boy, man, he's white, man. We can't let him in." But he's like, "No, man, my mom, this sucks." You know, and I live in a trailer, and then he's like, he's like, so Clarence's parents have a real good marriage. Like that. It's where eventually I think Chris D'Elia took the awfully hot coffee pot kind of thing from when he was making fun of Eminem's Trump derangement rap, where he was rapping in the parking garage by himself.
But then Chris D'Elia ended up in an Eminem music video.
Yeah,
they were like friends, and then like literally 3 weeks later got canceled.
Yeah, and you kind of have to. I mean, if you're Eminem, you just made your whole career like making fun of people and like spoofing and like kind of talking shit and stuff. Like you like a guy just doing that can't piss you off that much, right? I mean, like
no, I commend him for letting Chris D'Elia come do that fun little music video, and then Chris D'Elia.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but I thought he was funny. I mean, I know he's kind of he has like a douchey energy, but I actually thought his stand-up was not that bad.
I don't think I've ever seen a stand-up. I just don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I ever have. So, but yeah, any final thoughts on what did I miss? I don't want to miss another Rappaport level bomb here. Am I missing something? I didn't.
Did we talk about how Tarantino didn't he want like a different ending for this movie or a different? I was hearing some fan made some edit or something. I don't know. There was some extended thing. I don't know. I just barely saw that.
Movies are weird, man. When you hear about like movie production, like so much of it is so like nauseating, and how hard it is. I mean, we've talked about it, how hard it is to like get something made and actually have it like come out in theaters. Just even if it's completely bastardized form, just like your movie coming out in theaters is so crazy, because so much stuff gets left on the chopping block, so much stuff gets left on the cutting room floor, so some of it gets hacked up, scripts get changed, all of these things, and it's always just this war. If you listen to like Bret Easton Ellis pod, he's just like constantly talking about what movies would have been if this, if that, or and sometimes for the better. So, sometimes these movies get changed for the better. Like a lot of times you do, especially Tarantino's young at the time. He's not like this. He had said, he was like, your first movie is not the most important, it's your second movie. All right, because if you make one good one, there people are like, what's next? And if you bomb the next, then you're kind of toast. Everyone's like, well, now you have the money, now you have all of these things that we're giving you, and you don't know what you're doing. And he's lucky that and he loves Tony Scott. So he's like, it's one of his all-time favorite directors. Like truly, like if you type in Quentin Tarantino, Tony Scott, there are like supercuts of him just like soying out over Tony Scott. So I for him, it was kind of like a match made in heaven, but you have to stop Tarantino from like over Tarantinoing sometimes. And it's kind of why I didn't like The Hateful Eight that much. Is my least favorite Tarantino movie, because it's just like it's constant like Tarantino-ass conversations, of just constantly, and then action, and then constant, and like I feel like a lot of times there are certain things that can stop Tarantino from like being Tarantino, and sometimes it's just the genre, like Kill Bill, right? Like Kill Bill, it's just like there's so much like silence in it. And kind of like looks and tense looks and music and stuff, to where they don't have a time to like argue about like chicken fingers or something, like or whatever, or like what was the best kung fu movie of the 70s, and you're just like, oh my god, okay, like we don't have to do that. Beginning of True Romance, it's like kung fu, I don't want to watch 3 kung fu movies with you or something. It's like thank God that's the only time. Thank God that's the only time they brought that up, so but well, shit, man. I mean, hour and a half goes by like nothing talking to the great Jared Klickstein.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could have provided more insight on True Romance. I loved it. I love the movie, but I'm not some kind of film genius or anything. But it's a great movie.
I don't like film geniuses, man.
You're no Pamela Anderson.
No. Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
you're Criterion Closet. It's certainly
not.
I did not.
I did not used to jerk off to Jared Klickstein in 1999 when I first could, or whatever. Yeah.
I remember that. I didn't see it. I remember that was back when you just couldn't Google something. I mean, you had to like know an older kid that had DSL or something.
I caught it like late. I saw it like later when like you could like go on the internet. Yeah, because when it like came out, it was like you had to be like a porn guy to find it.
Yeah, and I was like 9, so I wasn't a porn. I mean, I wanted to see porn, but I don't know. I remember like whitehouse.com. That's about as far as I got.
Yeah.
Whitehouse.com. Oh,
shit. It a porn site?
It's rough. Yeah. I know. I mean, like, people talk about like the buffering and stuff. Like it was a commitment, dude. Like you had to like, you had to really dedicate some time that you probably didn't have if all you had was a compact Presario computer, family computer, and
Presario, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd print pictures out and sell them.
Damn.
That's like crazy. 11.
Yeah. No, that's, yeah. That I knew you'd hear like stories in the Navy of stuff like that, where like guys would get like a picture of their girlfriend and they would like find, like there was one guy that would draw it. Like he's like, I keep the original copy, you freaks. But like they would draw there would be a guy that could draw in the military, and he would just like draw like, let me get a picture of that dude's wife to like jerk off to, and he's like, got you.
Yeah. There's like single man cells in the LA County jail, and like old like drawings of naked women in the cells, like you're in a single man cell, someone just draw, and you have, there's like, it's basically pornography. It's like cave painting pornography.
Yeah. That's return. I say.
Yeah.
I get the endorphins up a little bit, guys. I go work a little bit, get the blood pumping, like instead of like the, couch lock, phone scrolling porn, it's like it's not the same. It's not great for the guys.
It's not good.
Yeah. Like like the Pam Anderson one, like it wasn't even like that good. I remember it was just so crazy that you saw Pam Anderson and like Tommy Lee like getting down. Like that was like the novelty of it, like, and then by the time like 2003, 2004 hit, although like, oh my, like it was like a thing where celebrities like just leaked their porn tapes, and I was like, oh no. But like the Tommy Lee thing didn't get like stolen from them. It was actually like a Nicolas Cage. It was like a Nicolas Cage national treasure.
Yeah, there's like a real story to it. They should make a movie about it. They might have already done a
mini
series.
They made the FX series, which I haven't seen, but I heard it's pretty good. It's it's that guy Sebastian Stan plays Tommy Lee, and I know some people that liked. I think Adam Lehrer was saying it was pretty good. And it's a FX. And it's about. And I think Seth Rogen is like the guy who is in it and everything. Like
he does seem like he would be in the porn industry.
Yeah, I can't remember like what he plays, but I think there's like a guy who kind of like flips on them that like is like, oh, I found your porn, like. And me and my friends, we smoked a cross joint and watched it.
Oh yeah, fucking cross joints.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Pineapple. When I watched True Romance, I was just thinking of Pineapple Express. I was like, man, Pineapple Express really ripped this off.
Yeah.
Like
is Pineapple Express good? I loved it
when it came out. I think him and I we stopped everything we did and watched it. I can't say I hated it at the time. It's one of those movies where I'm gonna lock it away in the nostalgia locker and not watch it again.
Yeah, I can't rewatch it.
I can't rewatch it knowing what Seth Rogen is, and I know it's kind of like a libtard way to do it, like when they talk about like abusers and stuff. But I almost wish he was abusing people instead of what I know he was actually doing, like telling, just he sucks. I hate his pottery. I hate all. I can't stand it at all. But I just, it just reminded me of Pineapple. I will not rewatch it. I just don't want to. Because I've loved it at the time. And also the way he treated James Franco, I can't stand it.
Yeah, terrible.
I did.
What did he do?
He iced him out, dude. Like he completely iced him out. The James Franco stuff is like nothing when you read it. You're like, really? Yeah. And by the way, if you were a dude around that time, that dude could handpick whatever he wants.
I know someone who knows a girl that like hooked up with James Franco.
We probably all do.
Actually,
we probably all do.
Yeah,
like it's at the time he was like the guy. Like it was just like, oh, I'm supposed to believe that there were all these people like, I'm going to be at this art gallery and not have sex with James Franco. I'm just not going to do it. Like, okay. And I don't know if they did. I read the thing and I was just like, oh, really? That's what we're mad about? Like about James Franco? And I hope he needs a comeback, dude. Cause he was good. Like,
I love The Disaster Artist.
I haven't seen it. I was scared to watch that one because it didn't look very good to me, but
it was okay.
Okay. I will give it a try because I want to do it because Dave Franco's not cutting it for me. Sorry. Like you can't give me Dave Franco as like the James Franco replacement.
Is he in it? Is Dave Franco might be in that movie?
He might have been. Another person we could put in Crooked Smile. James Franco could easily be somebody in Crooked Smile.
I want Ben Mendelsohn as my dad.
Oh, Ben Mendelsohn, blonde guy. He's a blonde.
No,
guy?
He's the king in The King.
Hold on, what am I? Let me. The name is very familiar, so I know.
He was in that Stephen King miniseries.
Oh yeah. Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's got like kind of a weird voice, a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's got like a lisp sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's really good.
Mm-hmm. What if we got this movie made, but gun to your head, Seth Rogen had to be in it?
Yeah, we'd put him. I mean, something.
You could work Seth Rogen.
He could be like a counselor at a rehab or something.
That'd be
probably be good at that.
You'd have to create some sort of because you have to realize Mel Gibson's directing this, so we have to like it would. I don't know if I think Seth might drop out at that point, but let's say he's hungry and looking for work. It's maybe this movie gets made a couple years from now. Trump's taken over and Seth Rogen can't find a job anymore due to Stallone and Gibson going to Hollywood and saving it. So therefore they might just do like a sort of conquer thing. Hey, if you submit to us, you can be in this new movie called Crooked Smile. And he could be like the like libtard kind of like you're the political adversary almost to what you're doing.
I know what he could be. He could be one of the leaders of Occupy LA that while I was there that ends up get like caught for like raping a underage girl or something.
There you go. Perfect.
I think that would be perfect.
No, yeah, that's yeah. You just showed me a picture on off cam, and I'm looking. It looks just like Seth Rogen. So I
exactly.
Yeah. You look. I'm surprised that it's not. Yeah,
spitting image.
So yeah, guys, go buy Crooked Smile. Like I said, audiobook February 25th. I'm pumped on that. Can't wait. And
when are you on Rogan? That's the next.
Yeah,
I'm trying. I'm getting so close. It's like it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the green room at
the anybody.
Yeah, I was in the green room at the Comedy Mothership.
Damn.
Turns out he does not hang out there.
Nah,
because he's Joe Rogan.
There's no way. Like, what? Yeah, why would you?
He's got a whole underground tunnel system just for him in Austin.
I feel like he's got a live feed at his house, like a live feed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like where you could like whatever. If somebody if somebody's there and he like turns it on, and he's like he can like listen. I bet he can like watch what's happening.
Yeah,
you're probably right. I mean, they do have a pretty intricate camera system, and then in back there they have all these screens so you can like look at each stage and stuff. But I don't know, man. It's kind of depressing, like getting so close.
I know.
It's like I don't know. It's and then like just Trump keeps fucking me. Like Trump, like just he's doing so good that like the news is everything's like around him. So like Megyn Kelly,
I see. Rogan.
Megyn Kelly was going to have me on, and then she was like, "We can't." Like there's just so much good shit happening.
Damn, dude. But it would be fun if she got like martini drunk in front of you, and you were just like,
yeah, that would be great.
Do you ever worry about like being really yeah, it would be great. Do you ever think about like being very famous and then like having to like it's like a new protocol for sobriety because you're like really famous now, like you're much more temptation? Do you ever like kind of get nervous about that? Because you will get famous. So
I've thought about that. No, because I think because I have been in places with like comedians, like, and there's drinking, and I have gotten the thought, like, just you're like with someone that is like relatively famous, like just drink a beer.
Like when I was crushing an IPA in front of you at the Matt McCusker show, he was probably like, "Fucking Glenn."
No. People drink in front of me all the time. People, I've been around cocaine. Like I'm fine. I can't expect other people to change their behavior. You can't live like that. That's like a prison that you can't. Like when Steve-O went on Bill Maher or he was gonna go on Bill Maher. Right. You can't live like that.
Yeah.
But you have the right to live like that. But
I mean, I felt like more of a power move by Steve-O. It felt like more of a strong arm. Like to me,
or like a holier than thou thing. I don't know.
Because people are like, why can't? And I'm like not a Bill Maher fan, but please have Jared on. But I'm like not, club random, dude, with Jared, please. But when I heard about that, they were like, well, there were people like sober people that were like big like sobriety people commenting, and they were like, well, Bill Maher like really can't just like not drink on his show. I'm like, no, the show is like a drunk show.
Yeah, it's his show. Like he can do whatever he wants. It's like the Rogan Kamala thing. It's like it's his fucking show.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nobody's turning down Rogan for like smoking weed. And now Rogan's like doesn't like I noticed he doesn't really like smoke weed on the pod anymore anytime I see him, like because he used to like have it. I mean because I was like, damn, are you gonna break out the blunt in front of Trump? That would have been crazy, dude. Just start like toasting one up like with Trump, or like just Trump there, which I'm sure they would have told him like, hey, maybe don't. But like I was just wondering, like, could that like I'd meant to ask you that like last time where I was like, man, like if you get to the point where you're just like, and I think you can, especially after Mel Gibson directs Crooked Smile, just manifesting it more times it can happen. Liquid Luck, shout out. But that could be like an obstacle, right? It's just like people could just be like handing you drinks. You know what I mean? You get to like, there's like famous people that just get handed stuff sometimes. You're like, what happens?
Oh yeah. I mean, it hasn't happened to me, but people have like been handed drinks and take a sip and they realize it's alcohol. They spit it out. It's I'm not worried about it.
You seem strong, man. I mean, like like I said, I've hung out with you in person. Like I just like you seem like a strong person. Like it doesn't seem like you've had to like struggle so long with it that perhaps is this easier, do you think?
There's just I just know that if I drink, I would probably unravel and start smoking. It's not like I never had a crazy problem with drinking, but when I drink, I like to do cocaine, and cocaine will start sort of a domino effect.
Many such cases.
I've tried it, and I always end up like smoking crack within like 24 hours.
Yeah, we can't do that. We can't have you doing that. So
so it's like really easy. I just say, no, I don't want to smoke crack.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want that to be the end because I don't want to smoke crack. That's pretty good. But yeah, the guys, if you're here for Jared, Jared's accumulated quite an audience. just know that he did tell his Genesis story on our show at this point, probably 2 years ago, I would say. That's an episode called Skid Row. You can kind of get
maybe 2 years ago.
There is like a series of episodes on there. So if you're like, oh, Jared didn't tell a story on this one, no, he has. Check it out on that one. That's still an episode a lot of people come to. I remember when you went on Matt and Shane, there were people I'd get a YouTube comment. They'd be like, hey, I just saw him on, Matt and Shane, and this is what came up. And so it is cool, man. Like, you really are amassing like your own following, and it's not just from like going on podcasts, though that helps. Like PBD, dude. Like, I know just normal people that listen to PBD, man. Like,
people in my family were like, they reached, like, the people that I haven't talked to in years, like, reached out, and they were like,
amazing.
I was just listening to PBD. It's cool. I hope it all leads to, like, I just want to make a living and like help people. And like, I'd love to work for the federal government with the current administration and just like get a paycheck to pay my rent and like just work and just try to help America. But so that's the goal. And I think I'll reach it.
Yeah. So that's great. Was he cool, by the way? PBD.
He was the besides Matt, he was the nicest guy, nicest like podcast situation I've ever had.
Damn, cool.
Really nice guy.
I feel bad.
He's like reached out to me since. He like just texted me a few days ago. Like he's really fucking nice, and he really means it. And I know that he has, his past with like how he made his money and stuff. I know there's like a crazy history, and I don't know him like that. I just know him now, and he's really genuine.
Did you get to sign the lock? Does everyone sign the locker?
I signed the locker, like
Let's go, dude.
a locker away from Trump's signature.
Oh,
it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Amazing. So, all right, man. Well, you guys know us, rarecandy.substack.com. Go ahead, check it out. And on that note, guys, everybody have a safe week, and we will catch you guys next time.
Thank you.